We've got lots to cover, from bull sales to markets to the latest news. Lots to cover. Here we go. Crew, let's ranch it up. Good day, everyone, and thanks for riding with us on this all-new episode of the Ranch It Up Radio Show. I'm Jeff Tigger Earhart.
And I'm Rebecca Wanner, a.k.a. Beck.
A big thank you and shout out goes out to our partners, and quite a lineup moving into 2025. RanchChannel.com. We've got new listings as we speak. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on in the show. Jorgensen Land and Cattle, Transova Genetics, Clear Springs Cattle Company and their annual Bred For Balance Sale. We're going to hear from Travis in just a few minutes. Axiota Animal Health, bringing us multi-million and Lactapro. The American Gelbvieh Association. Imogene Ingredients, bringing us Farmtan. Westway Feed Products. Medora Boot and Western Wear. Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners. LivestockMarket.com. EquineMarket.com. AuctionTime.com. The Tri-State Livestock News. RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station.
Cattle Battle.
Bull sales season is on. I have to be honest, this is one of my favorite times of the year, and a lot has changed over the years, from the type and kind to the breeders in the business to the information that we have to aid in selection. We head to Starbuck, Minnesota, home of Travis Wulf of Clear Springs Cattle Company in the annual Bred For Balance Sale. Hey, Travis, I saw on Snapchat that you were fixing to have your first calf of the year and you're getting your calving barn ready, so I don't want to keep you too darn long here, but I got a few questions for you. Your philosophy to your bull program, I want to touch on that. You have 130 Simmental and SimAngus bulls coming up in the sale on Valentine's Day, February 14th, give or take, of course. What is your focus? Is it to drive carcass merit? Is it more on more terminal? Is it on the maternal side, or is it that you have a diverse offering? Tell us about that.
Well, we go back to the name of the sale all the time, Bred For Balance. And that means a couple different things. You know, we try to balance and leave no trait left behind. You know, the carcass is important, calving ease is important, maternal is important, growth is important. Them are kind of the four categories, you know, that we measure. To add on top of that, the phenotype is important. They got to have good feet, good docility, and just be a good-looking bull. So we try to balance all them together. The other place Bred For Balance comes into play is we want to offer a balance of type of bulls. And it's becoming more and more obvious in our bulls. And then I think the industry's really picking up on it too, that we need to move to a terminal and maternal lines. If you raise your own females, make sure you have some really good maternal bulls that you can do that with. And then there's more and more guys just buying females and running terminal bulls. And the benefit of that is they can put as much terminal growth and carcass into them bulls and not have to worry about what the females are going to be like.
And you've made that really easy too, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but I know that you've made that really easy by leveraging the Right Choice Selection Program through Allied Genetic Resources. So it's super easy to go in and to go through the catalog and find out and say, okay, these are my growth bulls. These are my terminal bulls. I just want pounds. And make your first sort. And then or the other way around of, you know, look, I have a female enterprise, which a lot of people do, try to market those more elite bred commercial females. And you make it real easy where, okay, these are my bulls that fit into that category. So it makes the selection a lot simpler, if you will, that you don't have to go through pen. Now, me personally, I like to just scrutinize every single bull in the catalog. You know that I like to do that, and that's how I roll. Yeah. But for most people, I tell you what, having that designation in the catalog can make it really, really, really simple, where they know you, they know your dad, they know your family. They love dealing with you. They say, yep, we got to go and we got to deal with the Wulf family. But you make it really easy in the catalog just to make your selections right there of what you were saying. Terminal versus maternal right there.
Yep, absolutely. And this year, even more, it's basically the first half of the catalogs are big, stout terminal bulls, and the second half's your maternal and calving ease bulls. For the most part, that's how it's set up this year. And I think people will find that really easy, and they can really focus on what their needs are.
You've got 130 Simmental and SimAngus Plus bulls in the sale, 60 females, a donor cow, the fabulous 5 open heifers. And you're in kind of a unique position there, Travis, because first and foremost, you're taking care of us commercial guys out there, and you've got a tremendous offering. Like you said, you've got balanced genetics, you've got kind of something for everybody. But offering 60 females in there as well is kind of impressive because you're taking care of the commercial guy, like I just said, and then having all of these females in the sale, the opportunity for those people on the seed stock side, or maybe they want a little more sim influence in their herd on that female side, are able to come in and take advantage of some of those superior genetics.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And this year, the Andersons from Highland Acres, they're March calvers, and they're selling every single one of their March calvers. So there's a dozen cows from the young cows, 3, 4, 5-year-old cows with really top end genetics. That's going to be a fun attraction. Then another 15 bred heifers or so, and then about 30 open heifers along with the Fab 5. I pick out the open heifers, the bigger, stouter open heifers that are going to, be a bull raiser, I'll call them. Because a seed stock guy, they tend to like them open heifers because then they can breed them to what they want. They can breed them for their calving window. So these open heifers, they're set up right to go on and be, great seed stock cows.
And a little bit about just customer service here. Do you do some delivery arrangements? Will you do like free delivery for X amount of miles, or how do you help us out here to get over to your place in Starbuck and get some cattle bought?
Yeah, I call it cost share delivery. So whatever state you're based in, we have a set rate, and it's definitely not what it's going to take to deliver them cattle. It just helps us out. So you pay that set rate, and we'll get them cattle and cover all the additional costs. Any additional cost in getting them cattle to you, we will cover them.
And you've had that literally, you have honored that, because I know you've sold cattle to literally all 4 corners of the country and into Canada.
Yeah. Yep. We usually range from Washington to Florida and California to Virginia. So, and one reason we like to do that is because when we can handle all the trucking and we can make the most economical loads and just make the loads that make sense.
Right.
Yeah, Dad's a big stickler. He hates to see a trailer leave the yard that's not full.
Right.
Every trailer that leaves, he's got to have it full.
Well, dads always know best. Hey, thanks, Travis. You can view the lineup of the cattle for sale by heading to bredforbalance.com. And all of their information, including catalogs, videos, online bidding, will be available at ranchchannel.com. Make sure you check Ranch Channel often, because we're always updating sale information as it becomes available, like producers' videos and their catalogs. So as soon as those are available, we have them available at ranchchannel.com. Now, speaking of Ranch Channel, after the break, Beck joins us for a quick Q&A about Ranch Channel Plus news headlines. You are listening to the Ranch It Up radio show, and we will be right back, so keep it parked.
LivestockMarket.com. We hear from the crew at LivestockMarket.com every week. Bulls, cows, bred heifers, open replacement heifers, cow-calf pairs, feeders, and stockers, horses, pigs, goats, sheep, show stock, hay and straw, and even alpacas, all listed on LivestockMarket.com. Private treaty, online auctions, and on-site auctions. Buying or selling, gauge the market, do some research. Check out LivestockMarket.com.
And don't forget, they brought you AuctionTime.com and EquineMarket.com. At Allied Genetic Resources, it's all about commercial customer success.
We see that charge, we understand that charge, and we're going to use all the tools we can to get there.
To maximize heterosis, purchase your next herd sire from an Allied Genetic Resources partner. Just head to AlliedGeneticResources.com.
Increase herd performance, complement your forages, get more cows bred. It's upcycling and efficiency, powered by Westway Feed Products. At Westway Feed Products, we create cow herd efficiency one lick at a time.
Premium Simmental and SimAngus genetics from Clear Springs Cattle Company. Their annual Bred for Balance production sale February 14th, Valentine's Day in Starbuck, Minnesota. Selling 130 bulls, 60 females, an elite donor, and 5 fabulous heifers.
Travis Wulf here with Clear Springs Cattle Company. Bulls carry a 3-year breeding soundness warranty, and cost share trucking is available on all cattle. If you are in the market for profitable beef genetics that can move your herd in the right direction, be sure to join us in Starbuck.
Head to bredforbalance.com and ranchchannel.com for all sale information. Cow country news, the cow stuff.
I am sure you have already heard the news, but the Louisiana Department of Health has confirmed that a patient hospitalized with the first U.S. case of highly pathogenic avian influenza, or H5N1, has died. The patient, over 65 years old and with underlying medical conditions, contracted the virus through exposure to a backyard poultry flock and wild birds. No additional H5N1 cases or evidence of person-to-person transmission has been identified, and this remains Louisiana's sole human case of the virus. The general public faces a low risk, but individuals working with birds or engaging in activities involving poultry or livestock are at higher risk. That's the major story I wanted to share.
So, ranchchannel.com, yes, this is our property. This is something that we put together. It was a long time in the making.
That it was, but you know what? We found a need. We heard so many folks saying there's got to be a better way to market our bulls, our heifers, our seed stock. But in the reverse side, we also heard from all of you that are behind the tractor seats, those of you that are purchasing said seed stock, wanting an easier way to get in touch with these individuals and to be able to purchase on the fly. And that's why we created ranchchannel.com.
It's got everything in one place.
Yes, and when Tigger says everything in one place, try it out right now. Pull up ranchchannel.com on your phone.
Unless you're driving, by the way, pull over.
That's right. And you're going to find real quick that from your phone, you can also do this, of course, on your computer, but on your phone, you can easily, with just a finger, you're tapping on sales that are happening. You're looking at videos, you're looking at catalogs. You can even bid online as well as call or text that individual that's hosting a sale so you can get your answers or your questions, answered right off the bat.
And I think it's real important to note of organizing all of that information into a cowboy-friendly format. That was very important to us when we created Ranch Channel, But ultimately, it was to be able to give producers that are selling bulls the opportunity to have that digital presence. Like I said, organizing all of their information into one location, but for buyers to make it super easy for shopping.
ranchchannel.com. And if you'd like your operation or event listed, reach out. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're talking marketing tips for 2025. You're listening to the Ranch It Up Radio Show.
ranchchannel.com. Bull sales, Western events, product information, and more right at your fingertips on the ultimate cowboy-friendly platform. Want to follow up-to-date markets? Head to ranchchannel.com. No need to dig for information on all these different websites. It's all right there on ranchchannel.com.
We run a lot of high milk-producing mama cows in our herd.
Mitch Kenobi of Norfolk dealt with scours in his herd.
So bad that we sent samples off to South Dakota State and Kansas State. Heard about Farmtan. As a producer, I know it's our job to limit our inputs, but when it comes to Farmtan, Dad and I don't blink an eye. It is a must for every calving season.
Adding Farmtan to your livestock's nutrition this fall will rid your new herd of scours in the spring. Go to farmtanusa.com.
Why not give Gelbvieh and Balancer bulls a try this year? Raise replacement females with added fertility, increased longevity, and greater productivity. Get increased performance, improve feed efficiency, and increase the carcass merit. Maximize crossbreeding with Gelbvieh and Balancer. Attention cattle producers. Boost your herd's trace mineral status with Axiota Animal Health's Multi-Min 9D. This injectable solution delivers essential trace minerals known to support cattle health and reproduction. Don't settle for less when it comes to your herd health. Trust Axiota Animal Health to keep your cattle in prime condition. Visit your local supplier or veterinarian to learn more about Multi-Min 90. Multi-Min 90, because healthy cattle mean a healthy bottom line. Welcome back, everyone, to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. It is that time when we check in with Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated. We recap the markets from last week, and actually, in this situation, it's kind of recapping the markets from last year. And so, Kirk, I'm going to let you go through the numbers first, and then I've got some questions for you at the end.
All right, Tigger. Well, good morning, and to all your listeners out there. And man, did we have a strong cash markets in both the feeder and live cattle to close the year out. As of Friday, January 3rd, January feeder futures closed the week at $264.80. That's up $3.22.5 on the week, with the CME feeder index up $7.44 at $265.76. That left the basis at a positive 91 cents. February live cattle futures closed the week at $194.02.5. That's up $3.15 on the week, with cash trading $195 to mostly $197 in the south. And get this, Tigger, $201 in the north.
Hello.
Yeah, right? That's crazy good. That left the 5-area weighted average up $5.45 at $196.30, and the basis a positive $2.27.5 versus February futures. The weekly slaughter was up 64,000 head versus last week and 44,000 head below the same week last year. All of those were holiday shortened. Choice boxes closed the week up 286 at 325.24. March corn closed the week at 451. That's up 2 3/4 on the week. March corn continues to grind higher within an upward sloping channel. New highs probably are some sale opportunity for your farmers out there.
So now with some questions going we're into the year, Christmas trees are down, holidays are over, we're on this thing, we're rolling. What are you kind of looking for here in 2025? Do you think we're going to have another powerful year? I mean, we closed out 2024. Everything looked good. We listened to the numbers you just said. So are you looking that beef cattle are going to be ringing the bell again this year?
All indications are that beef cattle are definitely going to be ringing the bell again. One of my good friends forward contracted some fall calves, so we're talking probably October of 2025, some 6.5 weights at 315. That's a forward contract at 315. All indications are that this year's 2025 is going to be very, very strong. Now, obviously, as far as risk management, what you have to try to balance are the unknowns, issues that come from left field that you don't see coming.
So do you think those are some strategies that really we need to – I know it's kind of hard right now. We're going into the dark days of winter and a lot of people receiving snow that haven't received snow for a long time and those kind of things. We get distracted with the everyday. We're all guilty of that. But in all reality, even those calves that haven't hit the ground yet, and they won't hit the ground for, a few months for some people, do you think we need to start really looking at some of these prices for October delivery into November, December, that we probably should start taking a look at this stuff because, like you said, there are so many unknowns?
I think absolutely you guys should start taking a look at it. I think cow-calf guy who doesn't have the high break-evens has a little more room to gamble, if you will. I'd leave the upside open, definitely talking LRP or puts sort of tools. The guys that have paid these high prices to buy these calves, the stalker sort of guy, there's so much risk on the table with those. I think those people definitely need to be looking at these prices. That doesn't mean that we're still not very bullish and all the rest, but a bird in the hand, as they say, Tigger.
Right. Exactly. And you just said on some of these stalker cattle, I know that's one that we continue to look at. We had this conversation last year, too, about this time. And remember when I told you that Beck and I, we were looking at laying into a pile of these pasture cattle. And then when we started running some numbers, we said, boy, howdy, given our specific situation, there wasn't a whole lot of margin. We could make them work, but there were those other outside variables. I call it bad luck, and usually that follows me around. And we decided not to go that way. And, of course, we're looking again this year, but it's kind of a repeat of last year because with these high prices and with the lowest number of cows that are out there, and then when we're looking at what the prices of just some of these commercial cows are selling for, it really has caused a lot of people, us included, to go back and say, okay, we really need to rethink how we're doing our cattle business, and maybe it turns into a little bit more of just a grass and land management business, where maybe it's not even so much the cattle. Maybe it's, okay, we just need to manage the ground that we have, because those outside variables, as I call them, bad luck, I mean, they can come in and they can just knock you off the perch real hard.
And everybody will face those at some point, right? That's just the way life is in general. The risk levels are very, very high. Now, opportunity is quite high also, but that always comes with very elevated risk levels.
So my last question for you, Kirk, is what are some of those first questions when maybe we want to contact somebody like you, and maybe we haven't done that before? What are some of those first questions that maybe we should ask a marketing representative like yourself when we start to vet them out, if you will, of what we're comfortable with risk and management? How do we go about that process, and what are some of those things that we need to look for when we're trying to find that, that advisor, if you will?
I'd say that's very personal. I think, basically you just got to get along with the person. Obviously, trust is massively important, just kind of on that human to human level. Trust would be the most important. Obviously, they need to understand how the tools work, how margin works, and understand what your operation desires and can handle as far as margin and all the rest goes. But I think to keep it simple for this conversation, it's going to come down to trust. Find that person you can trust.
And I think really knowing what it is that your operation wants, because I've had that conversation with other people, and it seemed like when they started that process of, okay, we want to take our marketing to another level, we want to protect ourselves, but they didn't exactly know what they wanted or what they needed. Maybe it's all the way down to the break even. They don't know what that is, but it was they were kind of getting the cart before the horse, so to speak.
And I would maybe even take a step back as anybody starting to have that conversation from the producer's perspective with your broker. The first thing the producer needs to know is what his break even is.
And that's
the pivot point of all conversations.
And is that as daunting task as some people think it is? We get so scared to try to sit down and figure that out. And I know people are literally listening and they're rolling their eyeballs over that. Is it really that hard, Kirk? I mean, all the way back to the first time that you calculated yours on your cows, was it really that tough? Or was it just, I need to sit down and kind of weed through this? And when it was all kind of said and done, was it really that tough for you?
I think I think a person can make it tough. If you're going to try to delve into every little detail and pinpoint exactly every cost and forecast every cost, it can become overwhelming. But I think it's important to keep in mind that's not the objective. Our objective is to kind of come up with a rough idea of where these critters break even or don't break even. And then obviously life is going to change. Bad luck, as you say, is going to follow us somewhere, and we're going to have to adjust all that. But it should not be that difficult to come up with a rough idea of where these animals break even.
Did you hear the news? The Red Angus Association of America has made some major progress toward establishing equal pricing for red-hided cattle. Hey, I'm Shaye Wanner, and I host the Casual Cattle Conversations podcast. Kelly Smith, Taylor Oldie, and I sat down to talk about the progress and marketing opportunities Red Angus cattlemen need to be aware of in the coming year. Here's a small piece of our conversation.
Almost every packer, if not every packer, has multiple brands of other Angus beef brands, okay? And they're premium brands. Many of them are CAB overlays, as we would call them. They would be identicals. They'd be lookalikes. They're exactly the same thing, but they do not go into a CAB package. They're typically their brands that they're growing, and in many cases, they're growing rapidly, okay? I think the packer has a desire really to grow those brands, and those brands fit us, okay? In many cases, we can put Red Angus right into those brands. When they peel that hide off, they can put blacks and reds right together there. So when we look at that, and we've gone in and asked those packers, many of them have been packing that CAB product. I don't blame them for that. I would be doing the same thing. But in reality, they have a desire and an appetite there to also put Red Angus in those. They just didn't know exactly how to do that. We've actually worked with a lot of those packers on their USDA paperwork, if you will, their G schedules, labels and those kind of things that have to be approved by USDA. We've actually done some work with them directly to try to get those in position where they could put Red Angus into their Angus brands and effectively do that. That's our pathway to be able to get that red black hide issue out of the way, start getting equal pricing.
Listen to the full story by searching for Casual Cattle Conversations on your favorite podcast player. Happy ranching, folks.
I tip my hat to you, from one legend to another.
Before we say fare thee well, we want to give a big old tip of the hat to all of you that are not allowed to ever take a snow day. Yes, a lot of our listening area has been hit across the United States with so much snow. So thank you to the farmers, the ranchers, the truckers, everybody that has had to keep going.
Energy people. It doesn't matter. Thank goodness it wasn't us that finally got hit with snow.
I know.
Knock on wood, our day is coming.
And I am glad you brought up the energy services and those other utilities, because I know a lot of areas were hit with ice and then the snow and the wind, blizzard conditions. So it really was all the boots on the ground keeping everything running. Thank you for all you do.
And now that's going to wrap it up for today. A big thanks to our crew, Travis Wulf with Clear Springs Cattle Company and the Bred For Balance Sale. It's coming up Valentine's Day. Check out their information at ranchchannel.com. Shaye Wanner with Casual Cattle Conversations, Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated, and the boss lady, Rebecca Wanner, a.k.a. Beck.
A big thank you to our partners, ranchchannel.com, Jorgensen Land and Cattle, Transova Genetics, Clear Springs Cattle Company bringing us that annual Bred For Balance Sale, Axiota Animal Health bringing us Multi-Min and Lactopro, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients, Farmtan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources, Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, the Tri-State Livestock News, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station.
And crew, so glad y'all came with us one more time as we ranch it up. Be sure to follow and like us on Facebook at Ranch It Up Show. Our email, ranchitupshow@gmail.com. You can call and you can text 24/7. That phone number is 707-RANCH-20, 707-726-2420. Spread the good word and join us again next week where it's always Tigger and Beck approved.
Stay ranchy and ranch it up.